Social practices of 3D weapons. Although not practical yet, individuals around the world are beginning to design and print 3D weapons. From 2013 to 2014, we went from the world's first 3D printed gun, the Liberator, that cost about $8,000 to manufacture, to the development of a gun that's printer was about $1,700 and using only $25 worth of plastic. However, regulations regarding 3D printed weapons are still being worked on, such as if they will fall under the Undetectable Firearms Act. Currently, they do not. Force for social change. When we started coming up with ideas for 3D printers, we didn't think that they would be used for weapons. They were supposed to be used for bioprinting, computer parts, and things that could be useful to us as a society. But with 3D printers, if we can dream it, we can print it. Discipline of study. 3D printing has influenced our behavior in that we don't need to be a scientist in a fancy lab to access these 3D printers now. Currently, I can buy them from eBay, Amazon, or even Google. With this kind of access to this equipment, there isn't a sure way to regulate what someone prints in their home. In addition to this access, we can become more creative beings as well. Need a screw for the pictures hanging on the wall? Print it. Need a computer part and can't wait for the shipping from a website order? Print it. Usage of technology. Weapons aren't the only thing that the printers are used for. The printers can also be used in the medical field with bioprinting cells, which can form into organs and various tissues, or with screws to put bones back together. These items can be personalized to fit the patient. Or artists like John Edmart can now replicate Fibonacci numbers into his sculptures, created to replicate pine cones and sunflowers. Even our military is using 3D printers to print small parts that can be used in our computers and equipment because it's easier, faster, and cheaper to print it than it is to order it. Positive and negative impacts. Positive impacts of 3D weapons could be for our military and police force. If they got to a point where it could happen, they would be able to print these weapons and have them when they needed them. This is the only positive that I can currently see. Negative impacts for the 3D printing weapons would be a possible increase in crime and maybe an unknown amount of weapons in the world. However, this could kind of force us to live in a public panopticon-like situation where anybody could have a weapon. How do we know if they don't? And would it just be better to be paranoid and assume that they do? Societal issues. A societal issue with 3D printing weapons is the freedom versus security argument. How much freedom are you willing to give up in order for you to be okay with the level of security we have? 3D printed gun enthusiasts cannot be sure if they're being watched or not, and there are no laws in place as of right now. If we do catch up to technology and put a law into effect telling us that we can't print firearms, that essentially infringes on our right to bear arms. And on the other hand, how do we keep our citizens safe?